My name is Brian Pittard with Wright Manufacturing Systems, and we are going to go over the new 1280i that is on all of our 2016 and above equipment. The first thing you want to do is turn the power on. It will bring the 1280 up. It takes a minute. As long as we're waiting for it to boot up, all of our systems are programmed to our needs and to how our equipment runs. There is no other program that Rice Lakes makes that is exactly like ours. So it is manufacturer specific and also kind of user specific how you program it. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. The machine's fired up. We have two buttons, a select mix button and a setup mode button. The lower keypad can be used, but this is all new touch screen, Wi-Fi. All of these keypads down here can also be used up here, and I personally find myself using the touch screen more than these keys down here. We have a select mix and we have a startup menu. All programming is done in the startup menu. By simply touching the startup menu, it takes you into setup menu, and there's the setup password. It goes through English and French, Spanish. You can change your pounds to kg, which is your English or the metric units. Your export and import database, you download the programs, or the after every batch, the save programs. It stores 300 of those, and then after 300 it starts rewriting over the 301. It wipes out the first saved batch. You have your export and import database, and these are your recalled batches or your saved batches. It has up to 300 stored batches. On your 301st batch, it overwrites the first stored recipe that you made. This is your clear transaction, unit ID, your conveyor delay. When we come out and set your machine up, we come out and set your machine up, we of course go over all of these. Your alarm times, your calibration factors, everything that you need to calibrate the machine with is done in the setup menu. The most important button that you will always be going into is the add and edit mix. When you go into the add and edit menu, that's how you make a program, and that's how you make a recipe. Let's call it a recipe. The very first thing that you have to put in is a number. The computer associates a number, not a name. So we would want to call this like recipe 8. Hit the done. Then it wants a name, and let's call this recipe 8. So they remembered a name, we called it recipe 8. Now it's wanting a rock target weight, and this is in pounds. So whatever your engineered spec is, let's say it's 1,500 pounds of stone. You type in 1,500, enter that, then it asks for a sand target. You want 1,256 pounds of sand, enter that, then it asks for a cement target. We want 678 pounds of sand per yard. This is a 5-scale unit, so it asks what we want for our second rock target. So if you have pea gravel you're mixing in or some other type of gravel, you would put that, which let's call it 1,000 pounds of pea gravel. And it's going to ask you for your second sand, which is a larger sand. So let's say you only want 300 pounds of that. Then it wants your water target per yard. You want 36 gallons of water per yard. Then we've got a new feature, admixtures. It is going to ask you how many ounces you want of your first target admixture, whatever that may be. We want 2.5 ounces. We don't have any other admixture, so we put 0 for that one, 0 for the next admixture, and your fourth admixture, we don't have that one either, so 0. So the computer, when it sees zeros, it skips over those items. So we just made a batch, or a recipe. So we're done. We exit the setup menu and we go into where we run the programs, which is the select mix. So once we're done making our recipe, in our setup menu, we come over to this button, which is the select mix button. That is where we are going to run our recipe that we just made. We select that. On this particular batching machine, we are using a 1-yard drum. In our select mix, we programmed in we cannot mix more than 1 yard. That's definitely a thing that will change. If your mix design or your mixer is a 10-yard machine, you'd put in 10 yards in the select mix, so you can run more than 1 yard. Now remember that all of our recipes, everything is based, when you enter it, it's based on a 1-yard mix. What the computer does is it takes however many yards you want and it multiplies that by whatever you put in your recipe design. Very important. So going back to the recipe we just made, this is the new recipe we just made. This machine will, I don't know how many it holds, but it will definitely hold more than 30. That's what I have seen in machines, in our customers' machines. This is the one we just made, number 8, recipe 8. It's going to ask how many yards we want. In our case, I just went over, we only have a 1-yard drum. We want 0.4 yards, a little less than half a yard. When this machine is not loaded, we'll try and take more video of this machine once we're setting it up, but These bins will be all green. These are yellow. It's not ready to go. It doesn't see weight in the bins, so it's saying caution. Yellow is caution. Red is stop. It will not run the program. Green, it will run. So you'll see here when I push the go arrow, this is the go and repeat arrow. When you push it, watch what happens. Alarm. There's no weight, which makes sense. So it goes back and says, uh-oh. Uh-oh. You got to start over. That's a review of the 1280i, the new Rice Lakes CPU, and this is used on all of our Wright Manufacturing Systems equipment. In going over the rest of the panel, once again, our panels are made specific to us, and nobody else can make a panel like this. Our equipment is highly mobile, and so we have a waterproof panel. And going over the panel and what it does, the 1280, it's an automated panel. You hit the start button, everything turns on and off according to what your recipe is. If there is a problem, here's the emergency stop button. You would hit that. I don't want to hit it or else it'll shut everything off. But you have, as well as computer operated controls and solenoids, the computer operating the machine, you have manual operation. We have this is a 5 scale or 5 bin machine. So you call this rock 1. You can manually turn this on. I can hear the solenoid down there turning on. You have rock 2, sand 1, sand 2. You have an admixture, which this machine we supplied a single flow meter and pump for an admixture, so it only has one admixture switch. You have your cement, so you can manually turn on your cement. You can manually turn on your water. So if you need to add water, you push this, turn that, and once again I can hear the solenoids turning on and off. This is the charge conveyor, so you can clean out the rock and sand for cleanup, and your main power. If there's any questions, you can phone in to our support team here at Wright Manufacturing, and we can also go over any of these things if you have questions. Or if we're not here, we have backup support with Rice Lakes in Wisconsin, and any of their members can also go over our system with you. Thank you.